Hi there. So when they are logged into their Google Drive, they have to go to New, Google Sheets. The first thing I have them do, everybody, and we're all doing this, all these steps together. They're in front of their computers, they're watching what I'm doing on the Promethean board, but we all have to do it together. The first thing I have them do is make sure that they name their file. I have them add their first name before the title of it, just because then when I search for it, their first name pops up and it's easy for me to find, as opposed to sorting through and having to open up all these files. So we name our file, and then the next thing they have to do right away is go over and share. If they don't do that, then they usually forget, and then they have to log back into their Google Drive, which takes them forever. So it's just naming something and then sharing it. It doesn't matter where they put their data in the columns, so we are going to focus on just having the times in column A. And I'm reminding them to put the AM or PM, because since that makes a large difference in shadows. And they're just copying this information down from their tracker sheet that they took their measurements on. Since we measured in inches, we're just going to list the numbers down the next column. The measurement for 8:40 a.m. went off the page. I brought a meter stick out with me and I took the measurement for mine at 8:40 a.m. And even though I know that everybody had different lengths of straws, we're just going to use my measurement of 10.5 inches for as the default for our 8:40 a.m. The straws weren't that huge different sizes, so it shouldn't be that big of a difference, but we're just going to go ahead and everybody's going to use my measurement of 10.5. And then for the other ones, then they can use their own measurements. We had a quick mini lesson in math, not a mini lesson, where we converted our fractions. So if they got like 2 and 14/16 of an inch for their whatever, for their length, then I went ahead and we just converted all of those into decimal points. Someone had a calculator, they were shouting them out, and I just put them on the board quickly in math one day. So when they have all of their table filled out, then they have to make sure they highlight all of their data. And then they go over here and click on the Insert Chart. It'll default to line graph because it's recommending that. I'm not opposed to that, I guess, but I just think that if we went over to chart types and we scroll down, I like the idea of a bar graph. I'm really wishing we would have squeezed in a 5th measurement to show more of a difference here, but we didn't, so maybe that's something we'll have to do for next time. Right now, I have them look at the chart as I'm doing this on the Promethean board, and they're doing this with me at the same time on their Google Drive, and we have a quick conversation about how this chart doesn't have a name, and it doesn't have a key, and it doesn't have any kind of any information other than bars and times. So we go over to the Customization tab, and we have to title it something. Usually we all agree on one title. Then we have to scroll down, and here's where they label their horizontal and vertical axes. And so for horizontal, I'm going to call it time of day. And then if we go up to the horizontal, where it says horizontal, it becomes a drop-down menu, and then we have to select left vertical. And we'll call that length in inches. My higher students figure out that they can play around with the labels and the color of the font and the minimum and maximum values and that kind of thing in the grid lines. We don't go over that, but if they play around with it and it doesn't mess up their graph, then I don't really have a problem with it. Same thing with the color of their graph. I'm okay with that. So after that, then we can talk with another conversation about how that tells us more information about what this graph is telling us. After that, we just go ahead and click Insert, and then since it's covering up my data, and I don't like that, I just move it over. Depending on how it presents in their Google Sheets, you might want to have them resize it so that it's not too big and you can see all the information on it. If they wanted to get back into it and edit things, they can always click on this little quick edit mode, and that'll bring them back to or they can just click on the title and they can do the same thing right there. So yeah, so once they have their graph, and this is the part that I would be grading their information on. I don't really care so much about how this looks because the standard is the graphical displays of information. So this is what I'm grading. And then yeah, that should pretty much be it. Let me know if you have questions.